Welcome to Titan HST's Business Continuity Today, hosted by Todd DeVoe, where planning meets reality.
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in this fine world. And yeah, I am recovering myself right now from COVID. And so if I cough during this little episode here, I do apologize. Just kind of bear with me a little bit. My name is Todd DeVoe. I'm Director of Emergency Services, Emergency Management, I should say, fog brain too, at Titan HST. And I also teach at the secondary level, and learning things and sharing what I've learned is definitely a passion for me, and this is really what I'm into. So I do research across things and find ideas and bring them back to share with you. And today, we're really going to get into why businesses need to have a solid resilience plan, right? Disaster resilience plan. And what does that mean? You may have heard me talk about disaster resilience and anti-fragility being better after a disaster. And you can't just get there by luck, right? As I say, hope is not a plan. So you have to sit down and really look at what your core functions are and how do you get back to normal and or surpass it, right? And become stronger. We're seeing more and more extreme weather events across the country. Well, not necessarily more, right? We're seeing more intense disaster or weather disasters happening across the world, and the risk is going up. And so much so that Moody's Insurance Services now incorporates climate change into its credit ratings, and they list 6 indicators to assess and explore or to assess the exposure, I should say, overall, right, to what you have. So now you have to take a business decision to think about what risks that you have and that you face, whether it is earthquake that we have here in California, or if it's wildland fire, or again, if it's any of these high impact events that are now occurring across the world. So they surveyed, there it goes. So they surveyed 208 New Orleans based small businesses and mid-sized enterprises. And the majority are located between below sea level, right? And so this happens 11 years. This survey happens 11 years after Katrina. So did we learn lessons from Hurricane Katrina, right? These businesses have not moved, or have they made significant increase in their ability to withstand, again, another storm and flood-like event like Katrina. So you're going to see businesses being rated in a way that is going to impact their insurance, the ability to get insurance or the ability to become fully insured. I've been doing some research specifically on what this means to people. So when you're not properly insured, right, and those of us here that understand that risk assessment, right, if you're not properly insured when a storm does occur or an event occurs in your business, you're not going to be able to recover from that. So you have to make sure that you have the proper insurance, and in this case here, with these indexes, is going to become more expensive. But the protection gap is growing. Right? That means that there's economic losses are increasing faster, and then the insured losses, right? So in 2017, total economic losses were 337 billion dollars, right? But the total insured loss at this point were 144 billion dollars. So you can see right there that there's the big gap, and so the recovery aspect of things becomes much harder. The other side of it too is that making sure that the insurance companies that you have are solvent. We have seen in California after the wildland fires, insurance companies go bankrupt. We've had the same issue going on in New Orleans. And a matter of fact, in Louisiana, over the last 2 years, 13 insurance companies have shut their doors, or they're not insuring hurricane or flooding any longer. So those are some serious concerns that you have to have when you're assessing what insurance you're going with and what they're covering. So private investment largely determines the disaster risk, and so you, as the business owner or as the business manager, you have to determine what that risk is and how that's going to happen. 70 to 85% of all investments made by the private sector, $80 trillion annually, all right, are going into these investments and insurances. So this is big when it comes into this. I got coffee. The other side of this risk assessment is take a look at the data, and big data that is, right? And so, where are you getting your information from? Who are you working with to pull these data sets so you can make proper decisions, right? That's the other side of it too. You can find some assets, you can find some assessments coming from government, from if you're a global company, the United Nations is doing some work on that side of it too. The World Economic Fund as well is putting some great information out regarding your exposure to risk when it comes to your business and where you're locating your businesses. And so the other side of this thing is that you need to put this plan together. So the areas that you need to put into the plan are your risk assessment, and starting there, right? So where is your building physically located? All right, or if you're dispersed, where are your buildings or your people physically located? What exposure do you have to the disasters, right? So basically, in the government, we call this thing a THIRA, which is a threat assessment. You need to do a THIRA for a threat assessment for each area, for each location of your business, and then plan for what it is to recover from those areas. The other side of that then is working with your insurance agents, your insurance companies to make sure, number one, take a look at them, who you're insuring with, right? Whether they're what their assets are and who they are, what their risk exposures are. I think it's important to do that assessment when you're looking at that, is who you're insuring with and what are their risk exposures, and to see if a disaster does occur in your area, if they are going to be able to keep their doors open and not rely upon local and federal governments to support them, because that is not a great plan to have. So, 10 good reasons to why your business need to take reducing their disaster exposure seriously is, again, disasters are affecting all businesses at this point, right? The insurance agency, the people who are insuring insurance companies are taking this risk seriously, so much so that they're now adding that as part of the index when they're looking at what to charge you for for insurance, right? The protection gap is growing. Do not be underinsured, right? Because you plan on not having support from government when it comes to this, right? So plan on that you have to take care of this on your own, right? So making sure that you have proper insurance, understand your assessment of the area that you're putting your money into. So whether you're building a building or renting a building, understand the area that you have and determine the risks and what are their exposures. The people who own the property, what are the exposures to the property, and then again take a look at big data, right? Trying to figure out what this information is, what is happening for the area, and you can find out pretty quickly using data what areas have been hit by storms and or floods and or other disasters, and you can build and or invest your time and property into those areas that aren't hit, right? It's also the best of interest to help make sure that you have your large assets, such as real estate, that it's working closely, with your local chambers, your local government, asking information about the historic areas that you're going into. We had an issue here in Southern California where a company insisted, and they sued to be able to build homes in an area that historically burns. We'll see how that plays out when they have a fire season. But I'm gathering the fact that those homes probably are finding it easy to get insurance for them. Matter of fact, where I live, the company that we were with for many years stopped insuring fire. So understanding when you're purchasing into an area, find out if it's even insurable, right? And then, at the worst case scenario, if it's a large scale earthquake or something along those lines, make sure that you have the ability and your plan to move your business in a very hasty way. And that doesn't mean haphazardly, but just quickly to another area so you can continue doing business afterwards. So that's it today. I do appreciate your time and your effort, and I do appreciate you. Thank you for bearing with my congestion and my recovery from COVID. And until next week, stay safe, stay hydrated.